In case you couldn't tell by the precipitous drop in views this channel has experienced this past year, I'm against genocide. That means I won't be voting for Donald Trump. Donald Trump has taken $100 million from Miriam Adelson. She wants him to allow Israel to annex the West Bank. And Trump's son-in-law, I believe his name is Jared from Subway, has already talked about how the West Bank has such great beachfront property potential. Donald Trump has already called for Israel to, quote unquote, in regard to the Palestinian people, has called for Israel to, quote unquote, finish the job. Now, that's not necessarily the main problem. The main problem is dissent. The Republican Party does not believe in dissent. They don't believe in voting. They don't believe in protesting. They don't believe in any of it. They don't believe in democracy. It's part of their entire philosophy. So who am I left with as a voter? Cornel West? Cornel West is funded by some pretty far-right ghouls like Harlan Crow. He's got a lot of Republican operatives working for him right now, trying to get him on ballots, making phone calls. They even literally hang out. Cornel West has Republican operatives hanging out at Trump rallies, gathering signatures to get him on ballots. Then there's the Green Party.
Kennedy, Ralph Nader's my goat, is a full-blown menace. Ralph Nader's my goat. George W. Bush stole the election. Democrats should have been fighting harder. They didn't.
Hassan is half right. It's true that George W. Bush removed Democratic names, eligible voters, from rolls in Florida in 2000 as a means of stealing the election in Florida. It's true that the Secretary of State of Florida was chairman of Bush's election committee, and she put in place an arbitrary deadline for vote recounts. Those same vote recounts were interfered with by a bunch of thugs who literally shut the counts down, and they were paid for. Those thugs were paid Republican operatives. What's also true is that exit polling at the time found that 39% of Ralph Nader's voters would have voted for Al Gore, and only 25% of Bush's voters, or 25% of Nader's voters would have voted for George W. Bush. Now, since the final tally was really only a difference of about 500, that puts a large part of the responsibility on the Green Party. And the Green Party has been playing the same game since. They've been financed by the Republican Party year after year, ignoring local elections that they can win in order to simply divert votes away from Democrats. What happened in 2000 is happening again, because now we have Cornel West and the Green Party working together for the sole purpose of diverting votes away from Harris, while at the exact same time, cops in Texas are raiding the houses of Democratic operatives, stealing their phones, stealing their computers, in an effort to intimidate them, in an effort to interfere with their campaigns. In Georgia, they already have rules in place that allow the election board to delay certification well past the deadline, which means if Harris takes Georgia, she doesn't take Georgia. But if Trump takes Georgia, he takes Georgia. And if Trump wins, those are the people you'll be fighting against in order to stop the bloodbath that's happening over there. You might tell yourself or convince yourself that by voting for the Green Party, you're fighting the duopoly. But the Green Party is essentially a subsidiary of the GOP. And there really isn't a duopoly when you think about it. There's pretty much one political party at this point. In large part as a result of negligence, this happens. The Democratic Party is one party divided between progressives and conservatives. Anything to the right of that is called fascism. The GOP is not a political party. It is a cancer of irrational, authoritarian violence. Ask yourself this question. With the Republicans so anxious to impeach Joe Biden, why haven't they impeached him on this? He's clearly committing a federal crime by financing and providing weapons for the state of Israel. It's a violation of the Leahy Act. It's an open and shut case, but they don't touch it. Why is that? Now, what would Harris do on Israel? I have no idea, and neither do you. I saw that CNN interview. She was cagey. We know she's to the left of Biden because everybody in the Democratic Party is to the left of Biden. Regardless of what people try to convince you, she hasn't been secretly pulling his strings this entire time. If she's so responsible for what's going on over there, and Biden isn't, then how come all of her critics have been silent up until now? It's Biden. That's why. All we know for certain is that she's to the left of Biden, and that if she wins, the fight continues. Because we'll still have unions. Just as one example, we'll have unions. We'll have robust unions that are growing as we speak. And these unions have been the loudest voices, the largest groups, the largest, most powerful organizations that are coming out against this genocide. Painters Union just declared that they're going to divest funds from Israel. The UAW has been loud as fuck. We know that the best way to preserve the right to organize, the right to protest, the right to primary is to put her in power. That is the closest thing to an anti-genocide option there is. You might look cool among your cadre of friends if you vote for the Green Party. I don't know how your friends are 20 years out of date. But yes, your out-of-touch friends will think you're fine and dandy by voting for Jill Stein. But you're really not doing anything. You're pretty much not voting. But you can, listen, if you not vote hard enough,